Alright, Path of Exile players, so the build that you're seeing in the background for gameplay here can be achieved within 1 day. So for less than 24 hours, you can actually build this really good build in, of course, the brand new Keepers of the Flame League. This is the exact same build that I have been showing you guys, and I have made a planner for every single stage of the game, whether you're just doing some of the campaign, and if you're brand new to Path of Exile and you want to play a good build, I could definitely say this is a great league starter. And this is also going to be the same exact build that I actually used while I was doing my full walkthrough and playthrough. So our total time in terms of like the power level in gameplay is 21 hours. So basically, if you're playing this for, let's say, a weekend, or if you don't have that much time, maybe within a week, you could actually build this build. So let's go ahead and get started with the build guide, and that's what I'm going to mainly focus in on, is specifically, like, we're already at maps, and the average cost for this is about 2 divines as of right now. But again, no matter what stage you are, I will have the planner down below also for you guys for the entire walkthrough and playthrough. If you've never played Path of Exile, right now is an excellent time, because I get asked all the time, as I do create Diablo content as well, you know, should I be playing Path of Exile? Yes, and play this build. I promise you it's going to be a super smooth experience. It's a really solid build for specifically orienting itself around map clearing. But let's go ahead and get started with the build guide. So as far as it goes in terms of like the equipment here, eventually you want to go into crit, but again, if you're not at that stage yet, it's totally fine. This is kind of like the earlier stages of the end game for the build. So what we're looking for is basically a bow that has all of the elemental damage types added to it. So that's cold, lightning, and fire on it. Basically, as long as it doesn't have chaos damage, that's what you want to shoot for. And then one thing that's really excellent is running what's called a Blizzard Crown. This will give you flat cold damage. So that's what we're really looking at here. So bow, just basically high DPS, 6 link. It's really cheap this league. For like 10 to 20 chaos orbs, you can get a pretty solid bow this league. And then for the helmet, again, Blizzard Crown is super cheap. You can get these for just like under 5 chaos. It's a really, really great helmet. Again, it gives you basically a huge amount of cold damage to your build, which can activate our Herald of Ice. And then what we're going to do is we are going to run a quiver with basically just elemental damage as well as crit stats on it. So that's crit strike chance and crit multi if you get that too. And then as far as the rings go, just some flat damage, getting some HP and resistances. And then for the chest piece over here, what you're really looking forward to getting is specifically as much resistances as possible if you do need it, but getting a high amount of evasion is really good. You can get like up to 5,000 this league pretty easy if you happen to have like a divine. Now, I didn't pay a divine for this. I bought this for way cheaper, but even for like 20-30 chaos orbs, you can get a really good 6-link body armor this league. One thing that I do want to say though, as you progress in the game, you will get a better chest armor, because again, this is like super budget friendly, sticking within like 2 divines here. But one thing that will give you a big boost of survivability, because your effective health pool, it really relies on basically evading. However, if you want to take physical damage as another element, this is a really good thing that you can get on your chest piece to really boost your survivability with physical damage hits. That's kind of something in general where like the bow or ranger based characters won't really have a high amount of physical damage that they can take. We do max out on spell suppression, but to get extra survivability, that's what you would want to go for. I don't happen to have it yet, so my effective health pool on physical is a little bit lower, but that's totally a-okay, and that's kind of normal. For othering, we can try to shoot for some extra additional attributes, some elemental damage, and then just getting at HP is great over here as well. And then for our amulet, we're running the Hero's Truth. This grants us the ability to have a level 30 precision, which gives us extra accuracy, which also gives us extra crit, which is great. And it's a really, really cheap item. I mean, you get this for just a couple chaos orbs this season. Next up, for the gloves, what we're running is just a pair of gloves with, again, elemental damage. Ideally, though, lightning would be the ideal one. However, what you really need to roll on the gloves, and I would recommend just buying these gloves with it on, and then you could craft on them if you want to. Again, this is like really entry starter level here, is basically just getting that inflict lightning exposure on hit. We're going to be using that with one of our grafts, which is actually pretty important to go over once we go over the grafts. I don't know if they appear properly on the planner here, but basically what we want to try to do is get a bunch of resistances, and I like to have them energy shield based, because the chest piece has to be body armor, because you take a node that doubles that amount. But as far as the gloves go, you can run energy shield here and then get energy shield here, and then the Blizzard Crown will automatically have energy shield and evasion as its base. And then we also run pair of boots here, and ideally what you want to try to get is some more resistances, some additional movement speed, and then if you need some stats, like you can get int or dex over on your boots as well. And the reason why is it's going to facilitate running some of the gems that we do run that have a high intelligence requirement. Or if you need to get strength here, that's another way you can get it. Then I like Stygian Vice in every single build just because it's the best belt in the game. Ideally, getting some armor onto your Stygian Vice is ideal because you can get additional physical damage reduction, which is quite great. And then with the Abyssal Socket, any sort of damage plus HP is a-okay. For the flask, if you want to run a life flask, that's totally fine, but I like all my flasks to be automatic, so I put like the use when charges reach full as the mod on it. And I'm running a diamond flask, a quicksilver flask, a silver flask, a granite flask, and then we also run at Series Promise to give us additional leech. This is kind of how we heal up, but we also take some nodes over here for leech that will also give us additional healing over here. So our main source of damage is going to be lightning arrow, but let's go over the tree first before we go into the skills over here. So as far as like the tree here, I will link the planner below, but basically we are just going over here. We originally start with precise technique. If you guys want, there is like an end game when you just reach the end game build. I like to go non-crit until like 90, but once you're 90, crit is just like way too good not to get. You get all the HP nodes, all the spell suppression, more HP, more LE damage, and then we're getting some extra leech over here, and then basically just getting all of the bow nodes as well as the crit bow nodes over here, and that is going to wrap up basically the tree. Again, I'll link it down below. Oh, the only thing that's important is we do also get ghost dance, but that's kind of normal in any hybrid build. The reason why I don't just go straight evasion is because I really do like having the ability to be a little bit more tanky with the energy shield, but you can also go armor. You can go hybrid with armor if you want to, but we get a lot of int for the nodes anyways for specifically the stat requirements for the gems. But as far as the skills go, our main source of damage, by the way, is going to be lightning arrow. Now you can play this with any sort of elemental attack here, but this is what I opt to play with. So we're playing lightning arrow, we're playing increased critical damage support, elemental damage with attacks, increased critical strike support, Mirage Archer, and then we also play Inspiration here. Oh, also, I guess going over these class ascendancy over here would be kind of important to mention. Since I like playing Mirage Archer for the new league mechanic for the Keepers of the Flame, you basically get to summon some turrets here. So we play Far Shot, Ricochet, and then Occupying Force and Gathering Winds. I opted to go with Occupying Force first, and then Gathering Winds second, Ricochet, and then finally with Far Shot as far as like the order goes. And then for our other skill, which is our Mana Forged Arrow, we run a Hydrosphere, Power Charge on Crit, Cast on Critical Strike, Mana Forged Arrow, Frenzy, and Tornado. You can also play Ensnaring Arrow if you want to fit that in somewhere in the build, but as far as it goes, I think you could maybe drop Hydrosphere for it, and then that way it's easier for the rolls. But as far as it goes, we get the Frenzy Charge and the Power Charges via these two, and then the Cast on Crit, because we're going to have basically 100% crit here. We're then able to then summon the Tornado as well as the Hydrosphere without having to manually cast it. The option that you could also go for is running Asinus Helmet, which will also let you cast spells when you just activate it, which is another great source of damage, but you do lose out on the Blizzard Crown, which is another big source of damage and survivability, because that helmet doesn't really have any good stats for defensive purposes. And then we play in our helmet, I like playing Herald of Ice. You can also do Thunder to get more lightning damage, as that's kind of our main source of damage. However, the reason why I run like a hybrid here is this build is orienting itself around clear speed. That is the main goal that I want to have with this build. Eventually, if we want to go into bossing, you can get Nimbus Ring and other things that can give you way more DPS. But again, I wanted to keep it budget friendly and have really comfortable clear speed. So Herald of Ice is another source with Blizzard Crown to just kind of clear up stuff. All the trash mobs just kind of die a little bit faster. I love it. It's great. And then Sniper's Mark with a mark on hit support, and then Dash over here. This doesn't necessarily have to be in the helmet. And then I'm running a portal with Cast on Death. It's just great because if you die, well, it's not that big of a deal. You just go right back in. And then we also play Discipline here. So the reason why I like it is because it doesn't cost that much and we still have some energy shield to actually scale in our build. If you do get also flat rolls of like percent or flat ES, that's totally fine as well. And then you could run Lightning Golem, Ice Golem. It doesn't really matter. To be honest, all the golems will just start melting towards the end of the maps anyways. It gives you something to summon. You can also alternatively run artillery ballista if you want to try to set that up. And then in my gloves, I'm running steel skin. It's a very low level steel skin, but it's so we can clear bleed on the build, because we don't have a life flask that has like immunity to corrupted blood and it removes bleeding. So you can run steel skin here if you want to. And then more importantly, we also run precision, which is granted by Hiri's Truth. So we don't even need to run this as a gem, it just gives it to us. But the important thing that is not, I guess, able to be shown here is going to be the Grafts. So let me go over those, because those are new arms that really actually make this build so much stronger. Alright, so, like I said, the Grafts are in, like, the planner here, so we have to, like, do this manually. So, important things. So, we're going to be running what's called Preserving Stillness. So, we need to get a Graft over here. This is kind of technically optional, but, like, I would highly recommend it. It's, like, insanely good. So, what it is this is an item. The only important things to mention is that Preserving Stillness, it'll say that it says uses level 34 Preserving Stillness. This will give us 1930 damage basically whenever we apply specifically a whenever we apply exposure to the enemy. Now we apply exposure again with our gloves over here, and so whenever we apply exposure, we just get basically a 1930 damage thing over here, where we can absorb that amount of damage. We also have crit multi-honors. These are really cheap, by the way. Well, at least as of right now, they're really cheap. I don't know if it's going to go up in price, because I feel like these things are super cheap for what they do. So we get crit multi. The chance for finding growing wound gives whatever, don't worry about that. Its skills used by this graph have increased cooldown, recovery rate, and we have +4 level of skills used by this graph. A non-level 34, so level 31 is like 1300, but a level 34 one is 1930 damage, and this applies every single time. So like no matter where we go, as far as let me go ahead and just show you guys how effective this is, because it's actually insane. I'll just open like a really low map so we can just waste it real quick. But basically our goal with this is to get a huge amount of free survivability. So again, every single time that I attack, I basically get this shield over here that just absorbs damage before life or energy shield. And every single time we attack, it just goes up. You can get cooldown reduction and increased duration, but then you lose out on the big amount. So instead of it being 1900, it's like 1300, and then you could have it up 100% of the time. That's another option. If you want to do that, you can go for it. But this over here is huge for survivability. Now the opposite end basically kind of nullifies the survivability, because we have something that makes us take way more damage. Now this one is optional. It's going to increase your damage by a huge amount, but what it does is it gives you can get flat lightning damage percent. You get percent lightning damage or flat on it. And what it does is it uses overcharged sinews. So what that is it says on critically striking an enemy, this graph will apply a stack of jolt to you. The jolt grants more maximum attack damage at the cost of taking increased damage. It can stack up to 10 times. So that's pretty good. And every single jolt gives you 2% more maximum damage, and again you can stack up to 10 times, so that's 20. But then on top of that, we have a mod on our jolting Esh graph, which says jolt granted by this graph grants 1% more maximum damage. So we will be taking 20% more damage, but in return we get 30% more maximum damage. Now this could be pretty good, especially if you want to also, instead of running Preserving Stillness, if you want this to be like a boss killing build, you can definitely do that and then make your hits lucky. And because the more maximum damage is going to make the rolls even crazier with lightning damage, well, you're going to get way more DPS. But for the sake of the build being a little bit tanky, this is kind of our big key here as far as giving our build huge survivability. But that's going to wrap it up as far as the build goes, because like I said, I'll have the planners down below. It's just these I can't show you, and these are super cheap right now, so get these, I would say, while you can. I don't know if these are going to go up in price, but I feel like these are like so good. Keep in mind, you don't have to get the exact stats that I happen to get. I just happen to get run this one that has like growing wound gift, so don't worry about that, or the graft blood stored. Just get like flat lightning damage or regular lightning damage, and then the mob where it gives you even more damage. Or if you could just, if you want to, you don't have to run that one, because you will take 10% more damage, but you do get more damage. You get, it's 10% more damage taken for 10% more damage, more maximum attack damage, which again, this thing is excellent. But that's going to wrap it up for the build, guys. Again, keep in mind, I'm making this build as like kind of like an entry point, so check all of the different builds as you progress in the game. You don't have to just start off with this one, obviously, because going crit, I'm going to admit, it takes a while to build up, but later you'll be a-okay. But anyways, that's going to wrap up the build guide. Again, the plan will be linked in the bio and the pin down below. But if there's any suggestions to make it even better, I do plan to make this better. Like I said, I really want to get specifically the mod over here where we can make it so we take physical damage as another element because it's a huge boost to survivability, and that way we can actually tank some more physical hits. But for the most part, I'm not too worried about it because I have a cast on Death Portal, which is how I like to play. Eventually though, if we want to push to higher levels, then obviously yeah, not dying is good, but the physical damage is the thing that you want to look out for. But you'll have max spell suppression anyway, so just don't stand and tank melee stuff or sit in things that are going to give you stacks of corrupt blood. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up. Have fun, Exiles. I'll see you in the next video.